This story takes place in 2008, during South Korea's first ever trial involving a jury system. The case revolves around a murder, where a mother was allegedly killed by her son, who has a disability. This was a groundbreaking moment in South Korea's judicial history, as it marked the first time the public had a direct role in the judicial process. The role of the jury is to determine fairness, based on human conscience, and assist the judge in making decisions about the trial's verdict. The story's central figure is Judge Jong Jeum, a woman with 18 years of experience, who was chosen to lead this historic trial. However, when the trial begins, Judge Jeum realizes that one of the jurors is absent. She promptly requests another juror be found to fill the vacancy. Meanwhile, a young man named Namwo, who is working on a business loan, receives a call from the court informing him he's been selected for jury duty. Nervous and unsure about the process, Namwo's lack of legal knowledge doesn't stop him from being chosen as a juror. Due to time constraints and a lack of alternatives, Judge Jeum briefs the 8 jurors, explaining that this trial only involves sentencing, as the defendant, Jinsik, has already confessed to killing his mother. After the briefing, the jury poses for a picture, marking the beginning of their journey in this historical trial. The trial then begins, and the prosecutor outlines the details of the murder. Jinsik, in a fit of rage over an argument with his mother about money, planned to kill her with a hammer, striking her in the head before pushing her off the balcony of their apartment. He then pretended to call for help, claiming she had fallen. However, after being hospitalized due to brain hemorrhaging, Jinsik confessed to the crime. As the trial proceeds, Namwo, who initially had no interest in the case, begins to suspect something is off. He questions the cause of the mother's death, especially considering the balcony railing was only waist high, and the apartment's security guard testified that the mother appeared motionless when she was thrown, without trying to resist. Additionally, it was revealed that just days before the incident, Jinsik and his mother had been at a government office, trying to apply for living assistance after the mother suffered a workplace injury. Instead of getting the help they sought, they were given a family separation form in order for the funds to be processed. Jinsik became furious and refused to sever ties with his mother for money. The prosecutor argues that economic hardship pushed Jinsik to kill his mother after an argument, and evidence supporting this claim includes the family separation form found in Jinsik's home. During the trial, Jinsik becomes enraged and claims he doesn't remember anything after falling down the stairs. The trial is briefly adjourned. While the judges are frustrated that the jury is slowing down the proceedings, Judge Jeum insists on continuing to seek the truth. Meanwhile, Namwo, still preoccupied with his business loan, sneaks away during a break. While wandering through the court, he accidentally enters the cell where Jinsik is held, and in the process, his product rolls into the cell. Jinsik helps retrieve it, revealing a deformed hand he had been hiding with gloves. Namwo begins to question whether Jinsik, given his disability, could have truly carried out the murder. Namwo becomes even more suspicious and decides to return to the trial, abandoning his loan application to focus on the case. As the trial continues, the 6th juror, a mortician with 30 years of experience, explains that the wound on Jinsik's mother's head could not have been caused by a hammer, due to the lack of blood. This insight raises doubts among the jury, and Namwo pushes for a re-examination of the facts. Jinsik, when asked to demonstrate his ability to swing a hammer, hesitates but eventually attempts it. However, the hammer slips from his hand and strikes Judge Jeum in the neck, causing her to be rushed to medical care. Namwo is blamed for causing chaos in the trial, but Judge Jeum insists that the trial must continue. Namwo, still unsure about Jinsik's guilt, begins to investigate further. He revisits the trial documents, feeling something is wrong. The other jurors seem indifferent to the inconsistencies, but a seasoned juror, the 5th juror, suggests they all reconsider the evidence, leading to a shift in perspective. Some jurors start questioning whether Jinsik really killed his mother, especially after reviewing the testimony of the apartment security guard, who witnessed the incident. They speculate that Jinsik's uncle, who had been drinking with Jinsik's mother that night, could have been the real culprit. The jury continues to deliberate, with the tension rising. Eventually, they agree to visit the crime scene to reenact the events of that night, complete with artificial rain. After retracing the steps, they confirm that the security guard's testimony was valid, as they could clearly see the events unfold from his position. Back in the courtroom, Judge Jium and the jurors discuss their verdict. And although most jurors are ready to sign the verdict that Jinsik is guilty, Namwoo remains uncertain. Namwoo insists that there's no concrete evidence to prove Jinsik's guilt, and he argues that the case could have a different outcome. As the jurors debate, they eventually reach the conclusion that Jinsik may not be the killer after all. After further investigation, they discover a note written by Jinsik's mother, which closely resembles the family separation form Jinsik had been forced to sign. This suggests that Jinsik's mother might have chosen to end her life in order for Jinsik to receive her benefits, an act which could have been misunderstood as a murder. Jinsik, remembering a moment of panic when he tried to save his mother from committing suicide, recalls that he fell down the stairs while trying to call the police and lost his memory in the process. The trial concludes, and while Judge Jium is torn about the decision, she remembers the principle that if there is doubt, the defendant must be given the benefit of the doubt. With that in mind, she declares Jinsik not guilty, and the courtroom is filled with a mix of emotions. 11 years later, at the same courthouse, one of the former jurors is now a judge, guiding a new group of jurors through a trial, reflecting on the true meaning of justice.